I woke up at 7 a.m., same as any other day. My alarm buzzed, and without even thinking, I reached for my phone, swiping up to unlock it. Still groggy, I wasn't in any rush to leave the warmth of my bed. Instead of heading to the bathroom, I lazily opened my camera app, hoping to check for any new pimples. It was easier than walking to the mirror. As soon as the camera app opened, I noticed something strange, a video thumbnail in the bottom corner. I didn't remember recording it. My heart skipped a beat, but I brushed it off. Maybe I'd hit the record button by accident. I hadn't touched the camera in days, and I could vividly recall the last photo I'd taken. Curiosity got the better of me, so I tapped on the video. The moment it started, everything inside me froze. My grip tightened on the phone as the video showed someone entering my room. They moved slowly, deliberately, as if they knew they had all the time in the world. The camera angle changed, and I saw myself lying there, completely unaware, fast asleep. The intruder leaned closer to the bed, the camera focused on my face. I could hear my own soft snores. I watched as my chest rose and fell, completely oblivious to the nightmare unfolding in my own home. The video ended with them stepping back, leaving just as quietly as they came. I felt like I was going to throw up. How had this happened? Why hadn't I woken up? I've never been a heavy sleeper, and my apartment is tiny. Any noise should have woke me up immediately. But there I was, in the video, motionless and oblivious. I sprang out of bed, adrenaline rushing through my body. I had to check the apartment, every room, every corner. I moved quickly, heart pounding, half expecting to find something out of place. But nothing. No signs of forced entry. No mess. Everything was just as I had left it the night before. Except for one thing, I realized. I hadn't locked the door last night. I cursed myself for being so careless. But why would someone break into my apartment just to record a video of me sleeping? Why not steal anything? I grabbed my phone again, scrolling to the video details, hoping for some clue. That's when I saw something that sent a fresh wave of terror through me. The video hadn't been recorded on my phone. It had been airdropped. Someone had been in my apartment long enough to record the video, and then send it to me. I thought about going to the police, but what would I say? No signs of a break-in. No stolen items. Just a video, proof that someone had been watching me, someone who didn't take anything, except my sense of safety. As the day wore on, the unease only deepened. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that figure standing over me again, too calm, too comfortable. It wasn't just the video that terrified me, it was the way they moved, like they had done this before. Like they knew I wouldn't wake up. When night fell, the idea of sleeping in the same bed, in the same room where that video had been taken, made my skin crawl. I double-checked every lock and walked through every room again, looking for any sign that they might still be there. But nothing. I locked the door, checked it again, and crawled under the covers, but sleep was impossible. Every sound made me jump, the creak of the walls, the distant hum of the city outside. I couldn't shake the feeling that the video was more than just a sick joke. It was a message. Whoever had been in my room wasn't done. They had watched me once. What was stopping them from doing it again? I first heard about Randonautica from a friend at work. He was into all sorts of weird stuff, crystals, tarot cards, urban legends, so when he told me about this app that supposedly takes you to random places based on your intentions, I thought it was just another one of his kooky interests. But curiosity got the better of me, and one boring Saturday afternoon, I decided to give it a try. I downloaded the app, entered my location, and set my intention to adventure. I figured it would just take me to some random park or street corner, and I'd get a laugh out of it. The app spun for a moment, and then it pinged with a location about 5 miles away, deep in the woods outside of town. I almost laughed. It felt like it was trying too hard. But I was bored, and the day was nice, so I grabbed my backpack, tossed in a bottle of water and some snacks, and set off. The location was on the other side of a nature reserve I knew well enough, so I wasn't too worried. I parked my car in the reserve's lot and started hiking along the main trail, following the map on my phone. It was quiet. I didn't see anyone else around. I felt a strange kind of peace at first, like the air was heavier somehow, but in a comforting way. After about half an hour, the app directed me off the main path. I hesitated. The area wasn't exactly known for being dangerous, but I'd heard stories about people getting lost or stumbling into patches of poison ivy. Still, I decided to push on. I veered off into the underbrush, using my phone to navigate. The trees grew thicker as I went, and the path became less and less distinct until it was just a trail of broken twigs and flattened grass. About 15 minutes in, I reached a small clearing. The app showed I was only a few hundred feet from the point it had marked. I stopped for a moment to catch my breath and take a drink of water. That's when I noticed something strange. In the middle of the clearing, there was a small, makeshift pile of rocks. It looked almost like a cairn, but not quite right. The rocks were stacked unevenly, and there were bits of string and pieces of paper tucked between them. I felt a twinge of unease, but curiosity got the better of me. I approached the pile and noticed the papers were covered in handwriting, but I couldn't make out the words. They were smeared and weathered, like they'd been out there for months, maybe years. I could see faint drawings too, symbols that looked like they were scratched into the rocks with something sharp. I leaned closer, and that's when I heard it, a faint rustling sound coming from the trees behind me. I spun around, half expecting to see a deer or a squirrel, but there was nothing. Just the wind moving through the leaves. I turned back to the rocks, and the papers seemed to flutter more violently, even though the breeze wasn't strong enough to move them like that. A strange feeling settled in my stomach, like I was being watched. I scanned the woods around me, but I didn't see anything. Just trees and shadows, stretching on forever. I told myself I was just getting spooked over nothing, and I decided to keep going. The app showed I was almost at the location. I took a deep breath, turned, and walked deeper into the woods. The further I went, the more uneasy I felt. The trees seemed to grow closer together, their branches almost intertwining above me like a canopy. The light grew dimmer, and I had to squint to see the path in front of me. Every now and then, I'd hear that rustling sound again, always behind me, but when I turned around, there was nothing there. I tried to laugh it off, blame it on animals, the wind, my own imagination. But then I noticed something else. The forest was silent. Completely silent. No birds, no insects, not even the wind anymore. Just nothing. That's when I felt it, the hair on the back of my neck standing up, like a warning. I told myself to turn back, that it was just a dumb app and there was no point in going any further, but some stubborn part of me wanted to see it through. Finally, I reached the spot. The app showed I was right on top of it. But there was nothing there. Just more trees, more shadows. I felt a wave of disappointment mixed with relief. I turned around to start heading back when I heard it again, the rustling, but this time it was louder, closer. I froze. My heart was pounding in my chest. I slowly turned, and that's when I saw it. At first, I thought it was a person, but it was too tall, too thin. It was standing just beyond the tree line, half hidden in the shadows, but I could see its silhouette, long limbs, a face I couldn't quite make out. It was just standing there, watching me. My mouth went dry. I felt a cold sweat break out on my skin. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. And then it stepped forward, just a single step, but enough for me to see its eyes. They were wide, unblinking, and almost seemed to glow in the dim light. My heart jumped to my throat. I stumbled back, tripping over a root, and hit the ground hard. My phone slipped from my hand, and the screen flickered off, plunging me into near darkness. I scrambled to pick it up, hands shaking, and when I looked up again, it was gone. The thing, whatever it was, had vanished. I didn't wait to find out where it went. I bolted, crashing through the underbrush, not caring if I got scratched or bruised, just needing to get out of there. I didn't stop running until I burst out onto the main trail, gasping for breath, heart pounding. I paused just long enough to catch my breath and check the app again. The map showed I was far from the point now, but the one that marked where I'd been was moving. Slowly, but steadily, it was following the path I'd just taken. I didn't stop to think. I just ran, all the way back to the parking lot, jumped in my car, and sped out of there. I haven't opened the app since, and I've avoided those woods. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm lying in bed with my phone on the nightstand, I swear I hear that faint rustling sound outside my window. And every time, I wonder if it followed me home.
I've been skating for years. It's my thing, my release. Late nights at the park, just me, the concrete, and the distant hum of the city. It's a good park, small, not too crowded, a few ramps, rails, and a bowl. It's got this eerie calm about it after dark, but that's why I like it. The place is almost always empty by midnight. Almost. Last week, though, I noticed something weird. I was out there around 1 a.m., just me and the streetlights. I was working on this trick, a fakey big spin, over and over.
I'm pretty focused when I skate, but at some point, I caught something in my peripheral vision, a guy sitting on one of the benches. He was far enough away that I couldn't make out his face, but close enough that I could tell he was watching me. That's not unusual, though. Sometimes people wander in, sit for a bit, then leave. But this guy didn't leave. He just sat there, arms on his knees, staring. I tried to ignore him, but after about 20 minutes, I couldn't shake this feeling I don't know, like he was studying me. I started to feel uneasy, so I decided to wrap it up for the night. I grabbed my board and walked past him to get to my car. As I got closer, I noticed he was wearing this dark hoodie, pulled up so I couldn't see much of his face, and his head was tilted down, but I could feel his eyes on me. You know that feeling, right? Like when someone's looking right through you. My skin prickled. I muttered a quick "Hey, man," as I walked by, and he didn't say a word. Didn't even move. Just kept his head down. I hurried to my car and drove off, shaking off the feeling. The next night, same time, same place. I was back. Honestly, I had forgotten about the guy until I looked over at the bench. Empty. I exhaled, feeling kind of silly. I put in my earbuds and got to work. Then, around 1:30, I saw him again, out of the corner of my eye. Same bench, same position, same dark hoodie. He was just there. I tried not to look directly at him, but I could feel that same cold, unsettling stare. I thought about leaving, but I was pissed at myself for getting spooked the night before. So, I pushed it out of my mind and kept skating. After a while, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I looked straight at him, hoping maybe he'd look away or just do something. But he didn't. He stayed exactly the same. I pulled out my earbuds and yelled, "Yo, man, you good?" Nothing. I felt this wave of irritation, masking the fear that was starting to bubble up. "Dude, if you're here to skate, then skate. If not, leave," I shouted. He still didn't move. At this point, my heart was racing. I don't know why, but I felt like I needed to get closer to see his face. I slowly walked toward him, trying to keep my breathing steady. As I got closer, I could see his clothes were kind of dirty, like he'd been out there for days. His shoes were untied, caked in mud. But the weirdest part was his hands. They were gripping his knees so tightly that his knuckles were white. I stopped a few feet away. "Hey, you all right, man?" I asked, softer this time. No answer. Just the shallow, raspy breathing. I leaned in, trying to get a better look under his hood. And then I smelled it, a stench like rotting garbage. I stumbled back, gagging. That's when he finally moved. He lifted his head, just a little. And I swear to God, I saw his mouth twist into this strange, crooked smile. But his eyes stayed hidden under the shadow of the hood. That was it for me. I turned and walked away, fast. I didn't run, but I wanted to. I could still feel his stare burning into my back. I grabbed my board, threw it into my trunk, and peeled out of there. I told myself I was done with late-night sessions, at least for a while. But 2 nights later, I found myself back at the park. Stupid, I know. I couldn't let it go. I wanted to prove to myself that it was just some weirdo, that I wasn't scared. The park was empty when I got there. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, and I started to skate again, falling into my rhythm. I was feeling good, feeling like myself. But then I heard it, a noise from the bench. A scraping sound, like something being dragged. I looked over, and there he was again, but this time, he was standing. He was tall. Way taller than I'd realized, and he was facing away from me, like he'd just gotten up. His hands hung at his sides, but they were wrong. Long, too long, like his arms didn't fit his body. And his fingers were twitching. I froze. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My mind was screaming at me to run, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. He turned his head slowly, like he was trying to look at me over his shoulder without fully turning around. And then he whispered something. I couldn't make out the words, but it sounded like my name. That broke the spell. I bolted to my car, my heart pounding in my ears. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I could feel him watching, feel that crooked smile etched into my brain. I haven't been back to the park since. I don't skate at night anymore. I don't know who or what that man was. I don't know if he's still there, waiting. But sometimes, late at night, I hear that scraping sound in my dreams, and I see that smile, and I wake up in a cold sweat, wondering if he followed me home.